Welcome to theaquaticguide.com and 10 steps to underwater photography. Today we're going to talk about step 1, safety. It is thrilling to capture an image underwater and take it topside to show your family, friends, and others, to convey the beauty and the biological diversity of the underwater world. But underwater photography is fraught with potential problems, many of which I have encountered. And we're now going to talk about step 1. All right. The first part of this series, I have to say, safety comes first. Without being too preachy, you've got to make sure yourself, your dive buddy, the rest of the dive group is safe. Like I said, we've got to navigate the dive site, deal with dive equipment issues, deal with our camera setup, find, approach, and shoot a suitable subject. At the same time, you've got to troubleshoot all things. I myself often have problems with my mask leaks. My fin strap's loose. I'm cold. I'm always looking for my dive buddy. Sometimes I temporarily get separated. It's easy to succumb to task overload. And I have been guilty in the past, unfortunately, I'm not proud of it. At times, my dive buddy has said after the dive, they were trying to get my attention, but they couldn't. I was too fixated on my camera. Sometimes I've been temporarily separated from the dive group or my dive buddy. I've run low on air. I'm not proud of it, but I'm trying to get those last few shots of that eel or octopus, and I end up running a little bit low on air. Sometimes I've actually got lost in my navigation. Not good. So the solution to this, first, have good dive skills. Be a good, safe, compulsive diver. Have good buoyancy skills. Know your dive equipment and your camera setup cold very thoroughly before the dive. And another thing is our site selection. It would be helpful if we could be selective about our site selection. All right? In general, dive sites that I prefer are shallow. Shallow dives, you have more time. It's less dangerous. You don't have to be right next to your dive buddy and monitoring your air supply and your gauges as frequently. Shore dives are wonderful. They tend to be more shallow. You have more time and you're less likely to get lost. All right. Another thing is snorkeling. I love snorkeling. You have good clarity, good visibility, easy to navigate. You have as much time as you want. Finally, I like repeated, familiar dive sites. Now, on the other hand, dive sites that I generally do not prefer are, for one, deep dives. Deep dives, you have to pay much more attention to your gauges, your depth, the location of your dive buddy, and you don't have as much time. Dives with current or drift dives, where you're moving, you don't have much time to sit there and work the subject and compose your picture, or new and unfamiliar dive sites. Those are sites I don't prefer. Now, if for whatever reason you're not comfortable, if something doesn't seem right, if you're not comfortable, consider not taking your camera underwater. I have a hard time doing this, but it's good advice. So, in conclusion, underwater photography can be so thrilling. You've got to realize and acknowledge special obstacles and challenges in underwater photography. Know your equipment, be a good diver, don't succumb to task overload. Safety comes first, all right? Have good dive skills, be selective with the dive sites, and if for whatever reason you're uncomfortable, consider not taking your camera underwater. Now we're going to go to step 2. Know your camera setup cold. Thank you.